Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's northern state of Uttar Pradesh aims to set a new record with over 2.4 million oil lamps set to illuminate on 51 locations along the city's riverfronts as world celebrates Diwali with fervour. Saudi Arabia hosts extraordinary joint Islamic-Arab summit in Riyadh. Talks primarily in view of Middle East crisis. Rishi Sunak under pressure to sack Suella Braverman after she published controversial article accusing Metropolitan Police of political bias. The northern Indian city of Ayodhya is set to hold a grand Deepotsav celebration on the eve of Diwali. Marking the celebration of the Festival of Lights, the city is set to create a Guinness World Record with over 2.4 million earthen lamps at 51 embankments to illuminate the city. Ahead of the Shobha Yatra, which is part of Deepotsav celebrations, artists showcased vibrant performances of music and dance. And Diwali fervour is going global now. In New York City, crowds have been treated to a special show featuring dancing, henna painting and art workshops. DD India correspondent William Denslow reports from New York.
Getting into the festival swing. Pier 57 on the Manhattan waterfront has been temporarily transformed for a Diwali celebration.
I didn't realize that there is a Diwali celebration like over here, so we just get to feel a little bit like home over here.
Performances, the fireworks, the dance, and the decorations look amazing.
I got some henna. I don't know, just I came as a tourist.
Rangoli making also featured to help draw in the crowds. This art form plays a significant role on Diwali, marking Lord Ram's return from exile.
They lit up the whole kingdom with the diyas or the lamps, the oil lamps that we call them, and they made these intricate patterns with color and everything to make him feel welcome home after 14 years of being away from his kingdom.
And at this celebration, everyone is welcome too. More than 200,000 New Yorkers are believed to celebrate Diwali. But this event also hopes to enlighten those that may be in the dark when it comes to the significance of the Festival of Lights. This is one of a number of events taking place across New York to mark Diwali.
You want to be represented, but you want to share that. You don't want that in a bubble or in a silo where it's just so isolated, especially when it's such an inclusive and warm culture. So I think it helps people to understand more about who we are, where we come from, what we celebrate, and to be a part of it. Organisers
here hope their efforts will have made a lasting impression on those that have come to get a taste of the Festival of Lights. William Denslow in New York reporting for DD India.
In the UK, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak hosted a reception on Diwali festival at Downing Street. Elsewhere in the country, there are hundreds of events taking place. DD India were invited along to the Diwali celebrations at the University of Bristol, which is home to hundreds of Indian students. DD India correspondent John Beaver reports from Bristol, UK.
They may be 7,000 kilometres from home, but for hundreds of Indian students, Diwali is a chance to celebrate their shared culture. This event has grown significantly in recent years and is one of many organised by the University of Bristol's Indian Society.
It's not just Diwali, but it's every Indian festival here. The thing is, when you're in India, you don't know the importance of your culture, but when you travel so far, you get to know how important it is to stick to your roots and remember the good memories. You start missing your family, and this is one way to create a family here.
For some here, this is less a taste of home and more a chance to learn about the culture and traditions of an increasingly sizable student group.
It's wonderful to have more and more Indian students now say they're the biggest group of overseas students to the UK now. They've just overtaken China. And many want to stay and work here, which is wonderful because that then enriches our work communities, enriches our workplaces.
Like all good Diwali celebrations, food played an important part, as well as other traditional activities.
From the Prime Minister downwards, Diwali celebrations are taking place across the UK. And with almost 2 million people here who say they're of Indian heritage, it's no surprise that there are so many celebrations.
The University of Bristol has a well-respected Bollywood dance society, and what better time to perform than at the Diwali celebrations.
You not only connect with people who are from home with you, but it's like people that want to learn about you. And I never feel bad telling someone about my culture, telling someone where I'm from.
I find a sense of community here, and it's always nice to just be a part of such stuff because it feels like home.
The celebration of this ancient tradition ended in a more modern way, as the latest generation of Indians in the UK came together to mark Diwali and make new friends a long way from home. John Beaver in Bristol, reporting for DD India.
And British High Commissioner in India, Alex Ellis, wished Happy Diwali to Indians in Hindi. He said, Diwali is about family, friends and fun. Take a listen.
Namaste. आप सबको ब्रिटिश हाई कमीशन की तरफ से दिवाली की शुभकामनाएं. Diwali is a truly global event, celebrated in India, celebrated across the world, including in Downing Street and across the United Kingdom. That's why I would like to say, Apo Apke Parivar ki Diwali Shurakshit, Samrid or Khushhal Rahe.
And moving on, song on millets featuring Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi gets nominated for Grammy Award 2024. The song, composed and sung by Grammy winner Falguni Shah and Gaurav Shah, was launched to boost awareness about the importance of millets. The Prime Minister featured in the song on speaking about the importance of adopting millets as part of the lifestyle. Prime Minister Modi had also praised the video of the song on social media platform X.
One world, one harmony. So much that we can gain.
Taylor Swift has broken a Grammys record with her latest nomination. Her hit song Anti-Hero is nominated for the Song of the Year category, making Swift the first songwriter to score 7 nominations in the category, overtaking Sir Paul McCartney and Lionel Richie, who have 6 each. She is also nominated in the Album and Record of this year categories. The Grammy nominations unveiled for year 2024 is pointing to a year dominated by women in music, with top categories majorly consisting of female artists. American R&B and artist SZA has come up as most nominated with 9 nods. Pop superstars including Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish dominated across the categories. Teen sensation Olivia Rodrigo, who has previously won 3 Grammy Awards, also scored 6 nominations. Some other news making headlines today. Arab leaders are convening in Saudi Arabia for an extraordinary joint Islamic-Arab summit on Saturday. The summit comes at a critical time as the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas enters its 5th week, prompting urgent calls for unified positions among regional leaders. DD India's Mia Alberti reports from Beirut.
Extraordinary meeting under extraordinary circumstances. That's how Arab leaders have described Saturday's summit. in Riyadh as the conflict between Israel and Hamas reaches the 5th week and more than 11,000 people have been killed in Gaza. Arab leaders said it's time to, quote, unify efforts and come out with a unified collective position. The summit was originally slated to host separate gatherings for the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the Arab League, but has been consolidated into one joint meeting, reflecting that urgency for a consolidated effort. Iran will be taking part of the meeting. It is the first time since the beginning of the conflict that will see Tehran at the table with all the other Arab countries. And before heading to Riyadh for the summit, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi said, quote, Gaza is not an arena for words, it should be for action, stating that the unity of Islamic countries at this time is crucial. And as leaders meet in Saudi Arabia, international pressure mounts on Israel to protect Palestinian civilians in Gaza. The situation in Gaza has been escalating, with reports of intensified fighting near overcrowded hospitals, schools and refugee camps. On Friday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, during his visit to India, expressed concern over the high number of Palestinian casualties, but reaffirmed the U.S. support for Israel's campaign against the use of Gaza as what he called a platform for terrorism. Now, as leaders gather in Riyadh for this extraordinary summit, the world watches closely, hoping for a diplomatic breakthrough to end the violence in Gaza. Mia Alberti reporting in Beirut for DD India.
And as Israel-Hamas conflict continues to deepen, the Israel Defense Forces has said it eliminated around 150 terrorists and gained control over Hamas's strongholds in northern Gaza. The targets included Hamas arms production sites, launching stations and underground network. IDF further said that the Hamas was behind the failed missile launch at Shifa Hospital in Gaza. IDF said the Hamas missile was aimed at Israeli troops operating nearby but failed. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made a visit to an army base at the Gaza border. Netanyahu praised the soldiers for contributing to the safety and security of Israel. He also joined them for a Sabbath service. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded to French President Emmanuel Macron's call for Israel to stop the attacking civilians in Gaza. Netanyahu said that Hamas is responsible for these deaths and not Israel. Netanyahu further said that Israel is doing everything possible to avoid harming Gazan civilians, whereas Hamas is doing everything to prevent them from leaving for safe zones. Israeli Prime Minister added that Hamas is cruelly holding Israeli hostages, women, children and the elderly in a crime against humanity, and uses schools, mosques and hospitals as terror command centers. Moreover, he said that today Hamas is committing crimes in Gaza. Tomorrow it will spread such attacks in other nations as well. Moving to UK now, where calls for the dismissal of Home Secretary Suella Braverman are growing after she published a controversial article without the necessary approval. Braverman accused the Metropolitan Police of political bias in the article, which also criticized law enforcement's handling of protests related to the Israel-Hamas conflict. Amid growing demand for Suella's removal, Downing Street is conducting an investigation into the matter.
The law provides no mechanism to ban a gathering, a static protest, a rally, anything like that.
And after this statement, British Home Secretary Suella Braverman's statement,
"These are hate marches and the police must take a zero-tolerance approach to anti-Semitism,"
has erupted into political chaos in the country. Plans for a demonstration in London on Saturday's Armistice Day have sparked a row between government and police. After accusing the police on Thursday of applying a double standard to protests, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is facing pressure to take action against her.
Yeah, this is a decision that the Metropolitan Police Commissioner has made, and he has said that he can ensure that he safeguards remembrance for the country this weekend, as well as keep the public safe. Now, my job is to hold him accountable for that, and we've asked the police for information on how they will ensure that this happens.
The controversy intensified after 5 opposition parties made a joint demand on Thursday for her ousting, in light of Downing Street's confirmation that Braverman's article in The Times had not received the necessary approval. Under the government's code of conduct, ministers must seek approval from Downing Street for all major announcements, speeches, press releases and new policy initiatives.
The Metropolitan Police has asked the organisers to urgently reconsider the timing of the march, but has stopped short of banning it outright. It claims officers can safeguard remembrance events and keep the public safe, in part by forcing the march to take place away from the most sensitive parts of London, like near war memorials. The Prime Minister has said he'll hold Sir Mark Rowley accountable for letting the march go ahead. Stuart Smith in London, reporting for DD India.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Polls show former US President Donald Trump having an edge over President Biden in most of battleground states a year before 2024 elections. India's Information and Broadcasting Ministry approves Digital Advertisement Policy 2023, policy to empower India's advertising wing.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution.
This series is going to tell stories of such change makers.
Watch Change Makers on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj, and recent polls have suggested that Donald Trump is ahead of US President Joe Biden in 5 of 6 most important battleground states 1 year before the 2024 elections. The results show Biden losing to Trump, his likeliest Republican rival, by margins of 4 to 10 percentage points among registered voters in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. President Biden is ahead only in Wisconsin by 2 percentage points, the poll found. Well, let's have some news around the world now. And dozens of migrants crossed to the US from Mexico through the open edge of the border wall in California, where they wait to be processed by Border Patrol officers. US border officers picked up more than 204,000 migrants in the San Diego sector in the 11 months through August, up 27% from the same period of the previous year. The electric sports car developer and manufacturer Rimac is racing forwards by going backwards. The Croatian manufacturer set a new record for an electric car with its Nevera reaching a top speed of 171 miles per hour in reverse. The car now officially holds the Guinness World Records title for the fastest speed in reverse. And Beatlemania is back as English legendary band. The Beatles have topped the UK music charts with their latest song, Now and Then, making history as the act with the longest gap between its first and last #1 single. The track features the voice of member John Lennon, which was developed using artificial intelligence. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is embarked on an official visit to the United Kingdom. During his visit, Jaishankar will be holding discussions with his counterpart, Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, and will meet several other dignitaries. India and the UK have a growing bilateral partnership. The India-UK Comprehensive Strategic Partnership was launched in 2021, along with the India-UK Roadmap 2030. The roadmap is a commitment to a partnership that delivers for both the countries. Jaishankar's visit will give a new impetus to the friendly ties between the two countries. And India's Information and Broadcasting Ministry has approved Digital Advertisement Policy 2023 to enable and empower India's advertising wing to undertake campaigns in the digital media space. The policy will disseminate information and create awareness regarding various schemes of the Government of India and increase digitalization of media consumption. It will facilitate effective delivery of citizen-centric messaging in a targeted manner. The policy will enable to impanel agencies and organizations in the OTT and video on demand space. The policy further streamlines the process of putting advertisements for government clients on these platforms as well. The policy also empowers to impanel digital media agencies to enhance its outreach through the various platforms.
हमने नई डिजिटल एडवर्टाइजिंग पॉलिसी बनाई है
पहले जो हम डिजिटल एडवर्टाइजमेंट देते थे वो केवल न्यूज़ चैनल्स के जो न्यूज़ डिजिटल उनके जो वेबसाइट्स थी केवल उस पर देते थे। अब हम न्यूज़ चैनल्स के बियॉन्ड हम किसी भी चीज़ पे जिस पे कस्टमर जाता हो, जिस पे पब्लिक जाती हो, वहाँ पर जो है हम एडवर्टाइजमेंट अपना करेंगे। उसको इससे लिंक नहीं करेंगे कि न्यूज़ चैनल है या क्या है। अगर जैसे यूथ है वो अगर पॉडकास्ट पे जाते हैं या म्यूज़िक शोज़ पे जाते हैं तो वहाँ पर उनकी वेबसाइट पे करेंगे। महिलाएं हैं अगर वो कुकरी शो में जाते हैं या किसी और शो में जाते हैं तो उधर करेंगे। तो हम जो हर तरह की वेबसाइट्स को, पॉडकास्ट को, म्यूज़िक के ऐप्स को, OTTs को, इनको सबको हम जो है उनके कॉम स्कोर से उनके कितनी व्यूअरशिप है उसके हिसाब से उसके अंदर हम उनका चयन करेंगे।
On some sports news now, and in a major setback to Sri Lankan cricket, the cricket governing body, International Cricket Council, has suspended Sri Lanka cricket's membership of the ICC with immediate effect. The ICC board met on Friday and determined the Sri Lanka cricket is in serious breach of its obligations as a member, in particular the requirement to manage its affairs autonomously and ensure that there is no government interference in the governance, regulation and or administration of cricket in Sri Lanka. Well, Prasar Bharati special correspondent Dr. Ahmed Muyin Farooqi joins us from Colombo on the story. Sir, first of all, I welcome you to the broadcast. Now, Sri Lanka cricket's membership is now suspended by ICC. Well, second board to be suspended by ICC in last 4 years after Zimbabwe for government interference. What is the entire matter?
Siddharth, good afternoon to you as well. You see, the issue has been going on for quite some time. There have been allegations of corruption on the Sri Lankan cricket board. However, there was an audit report which was issued in around July this year, in which there had been allegations of financial irregularities when Sri Lanka had visited Australia for the T20 World Cup. Now, on the backdrop of that and the poor and dismal performance of the team in the World Cup, the sports minister, Roshan Ranasinghe, had sacked the entire Sri Lankan cricket board and put an interim committee in its place. Now, for this political interference, ICC has taken cognizance under its article of the Association 210A, and they have currently put the entire board on suspension. However, the quarterly meeting, which is scheduled for 18th to 21st, so that will be the time when the further course of action will be decided, and the president of the SLCB, he will be present there, Shami De Silva, and that will be the time when they'll decide it. As of now, the current position is that the membership is currently put on suspension with immediate effect, as there is no game which is scheduled till January, so there's not going to be any immediate impact.
Indeed, situation is becoming bad to worse now for the Sri Lanka cricket, and this also means no ICC funds are due to go to Sri Lanka cricket until January. Now, how will it impact the players and the entire staff?
You see, there had been a similar instance once earlier in around 2015, if I'm not wrong, when an interim committee had been appointed, like in the current instance as well. That was a time when the ICC had placed the funds in an escrow account, and then later on when the SLCB was reinstated, then the funds were released. So that is a distant possibility as of now. Till the time, 21st of November would be the time when they would decide what would happen in the future. So till that time, it's hard to comment as of now. However, the government would be given an opportunity to reinstate the board back, the elected board back, and that could allow the Sri Lankan Cricket Board to continue to perform, and the suspension could be lifted. However, it's too early to predict what would be the future course. As of now, it appears that as there are not going to be any games till January of 2024, when the Under-19 World Cup would be hosted by Sri Lanka, till that time, there's not going to be any funds that would be coming into Sri Lanka, and not immediately you'd get to see any impact directly. So till that time, November 21st is the crucial date for us to wait for. Siddharth.
All right. Thank you so much for joining in on the broadcast. Well, Australia is taking on Bangladesh in its last league match in India's western city of Pune. Australia won the toss and elected to field. They have rested Glenn Maxwell and Mitchell Starc, while Stephen Smith and Sean Abbott have been included. On the other hand, Bangladesh has included Mustafizur Rahman, Mehdi Hassan and Nasum Ahmed in the playing 11 in place of Tanzim Hassan, Shariful Islam and Shakib Al Hassan. Australia will be looking to maintain their momentum ahead of the knockout stages. Australia have now won 6 matches on the trot at the World Cup and will be keen to make it 7 in a row. While out of contention for a semi-final berth, Bangladesh can move closer to ensuring qualification for the ICC Champions Trophy tournament in 2025 with a win here. And Pakistan is facing England in their last league game at Eden Gardens on Saturday. England won the toss and opted to bat. They have retained the same side which played against the Netherlands. Let's take a look at other stories making news today. The northern India town of Badrinath in the state of Uttarakhand was covered in a thick blanket of snow as the region continued to receive snowfall for the second consecutive day. Sand art depicting the life story of Indian god Lord Ram is created by Indian sand artist Rupesh Singh in the city of Ayodhya ahead of Deepotsav celebrations held every year. Performers took to the streets in the northern city of India, Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh, in processions to celebrate Hanuman Jayanti, the Hindu festival celebrating the birth of Hindu deity Hanuman. Haze was seen in several parts of the Indian national capital, Delhi, on Saturday, a day after residents received brief spells of showers, resulting in cleaner air. The System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research Monitoring Agency recorded the air quality as poor, with the PM10 levels at 144 and PM2.5 at 91. Indian Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar extended his heartwarming greetings to Poland on the occasion of the country's 105th Independence Day. The minister shared a video on platform X, formerly Twitter, highlighting years of long-standing partnership with the European country. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram as well. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Have an auspicious and clean Diwali.